There's like no structure to this at all. I have no plan, I have no outline, I have no nothing. I'm just here speaking with you. Okay, so like usually I have a plan, I have a set like outline of what I want to talk about in a video, and sometimes I even have like a script or something, but today I'm just here to speak to you free form. 'Tis the season of wish lists, you know, Christmas is a-comin', so I figured maybe I would sit down to talk to you about my figure wish list. But yeah, I don't have a plan. I'm not gonna be like polished and like perfectly spoken in this video, but I just thought it would be fun to kind of have like a little bit of a sit down and talk about figures. My figure collection is Courageous Goldfish. Goldfish without the vowels, because apparently you can't have usernames that long for some reason. So I am Courageous Goldfish for the purposes of this video. And I don't really have it too decorated. Honestly, I can't be bothered to try and figure it out. My figure collection is like a nightmare to navigate in my opinion, but it is quite a useful tool. On my figure collection, your wished is like your tabs of like things that you want to buy or things that you're looking for. And I feel like I have a pretty short list, to be honest. I feel like a lot of collectors have like, they just kind of put everything they're interested in into there. And I'm very picky about what I put in my wished section because I, to be honest, am pretty picky about the figures that I buy as well. I am a little bit fearful of looking around one day and suddenly being like, I've spent all this money on this plastic that actually doesn't make me happy and I just impulse bought most of it. And so I really want to be like selective about buying figures that I really, really love and have passion for. And so that's what goes into my wished category. That's why it's kind of a little bit bare, but I want to talk about it because I'm very excited about what I have. So another thing that you can do on my figure collection is put like drafts of things. Like people make like pages for things that haven't come out yet, or like prototypes and stuff like that. So I oftentimes put stuff in there as well that are like figure announcements because I want to see how it turns out and then I'll decide if I'm gonna buy it. So that's kind of also what I've got in and around here. So I'm only prefacing that because the first one I have here is a prototype. This is the Fruits Basket Kyosoma Nendroid. I love Fruits Basket, and Fruits Basket is really stiffed in the figure community. There are like 2 scales of Kyo and Yuki from Kotobukiya, and I'm not actually even interested in them because they're sitting. I would love like a standing Kyo and Yuki, but we didn't get that. And no Toru, she's literally the main character. But they announced these Nendroids, which are sadly made by Toy Tech. Which, if you know anything about Toy Tech Nendroids, is a huge red flag, but I am probably gonna end up buying these anyway because it is likely the only figure stuff we'll get for Fruits Basket. So unless they turn out horribly when the painted version comes out, probably gonna end up buying these. Yeah, here's the Yuki. When they released these, I was like, they look pretty good. I kind of wish that they'd put them in their winter uniforms because I don't know how I'm gonna feel about having bare-armed Nendroids. I am not a Nendroid fan, I will preface this. I would much rather have a pop-up parade or a scale of a figure. I don't really like the chibified thing, I don't like the joints. I'm not a huge Nendroid person. And so I don't know how I'm going to feel about the bare arms, but hopefully they turn out well. Unless they turn out like really dog shit, I'm probably gonna be buying them anyway, so there's that. I hate that they like change the order every time you reload the page. Not very fun. So hopefully I don't miss any, but this is Cure Parfait! How very fun! Yeah, so I have this saved because I have Cure Whip. I have the Cure Whip candy toy, and I have all the rest of the Cures from this collection saved because I want to have them all as a set. So yeah, not really much to say about that. I've never seen Parfait for sale though. I've seen custard, I've seen gelato, I saw macaron and chocolat like once or twice, maybe they're a little rarer, but I've never seen Parfait. So I feel like she's gonna be a pain in my ass to find, which is unfortunate, but that's what you get when you collect sets. You gotta kind of just go all in. So that's that. Pop-Up Parade Weishni. I should have just pre-ordered this. I hummed and hawed and I was like, like Ruby though. I don't like love it that much, you know, like, meh. I should have just bought this figure when I had the chance to buy it. She's beautiful. Even if you're not a fan of Ruby, her pose is amazing. I love chicks with swords. We already know this, and she is beautiful, like to the T. So I should have just bought it when I had the chance. Should have just pre-ordered it. This is my FOMO moment. Should have just bought this one when I had the chance. But now I am trying to find it around the aftermarket, which is always very fun. Yeah, this one is one of my most wished scales. And even before I started figure collecting, I really considered buying this. It's the Kotobukiya Pokemon Hikari with Pochama, or Dawn with Piplup. Pokemon Generation 4 was what I grew up on. Like, the Dawn, like from the anime, I used to watch that on like television when I was like 8, and she was my biggest idol. I loved her so much. And so this was like peak nostalgia for me, and I really considered buying it at the time, but I was like, I don't know, that's like $90 for like a hunk of plastic, because I wasn't figure collecting at the time. So I was like, I don't need it, what am I gonna do with that? And now she's like 30,000 yen on the aftermarket. Like, I saw her on Ami Ami the other day and she was 30,000 yen, and I was like, I'm not paying $300 for a 1/8. I'm just not, especially when she was 9,000 to begin with. And so at this point, I'm either praying to find like a once in a lifetime deal on this figure or waiting on a re-release, honestly. And I'm really nervous because Kotobukiya is re-releasing Nei right now. She's got a slightly different design than the first one, but they gave her a different Pokemon. So like originally she came out with Mudkip, and then the re-release, they put her with Torchic. And so I'm really nervous that if they're re-releasing Dawn, they're gonna re-release her with like Turtwig or something. And I want her with Piplup, and so I'm nervous. This figure stresses me out. But one day, maybe I will have you in my collection. That day is not today though. Okay, let's talk about this one. So, this is kind of obvious. I mean, I love Ursa. And honestly, we really get stiffed with Ursa figures because she gets put in swimsuits or like lingerie and chains for some reason. I don't like a lot of the Ursa figures that we get. I don't like a lot of the scales that we get for Ursa. I just don't. I'm not interested in them. Even though I love Ursa, I don't want to collect things that I don't like. And I'm not actually a super huge fan of the freeing bunnies. I think they're really overpriced and they're not that interesting. Like, it's just a character in a bunny suit, you know what I mean? I can see the appeal for other collectors, but I just don't see it. However, I saved this figure because I was like, if I'm going to get a bunny figure, it's gonna be Ursa's. And now she's grown on me a lot. I think she's really cute. I think at first I was like, she's kind of boring. But to be fair, I don't know what else they could have done with Ursa that would be better. You know what I mean? She looks sexy. She looks amazing. And her facial expression is great. She looks like Ursa. Her body is sculpted really nice. I think the fishnets are really cool. I will never buy this figure on the aftermarket. I will never pay aftermarket for a freeing bunny. It's just not gonna happen. And so this is saved because if she ever gets a re-release, I will heavily consider purchasing one. I highly doubt that's ever gonna happen because freeing only ever likes to re-release their bunnies with bare legs, and I want the tights. So I feel like it's never gonna happen for me, but perhaps we can put in a prayer to the figure gods and maybe one day, but again, today is not that day. This, I don't think that I will ever have in my collection because it was really expensive when it first came out. This was 20,000 yen when it first came out, which was a long time ago now. It was like when was this released? 2018, yeah. So it was expensive when it came out, and it's even more expensive on the aftermarket. Like, it's just crazy what people are paying for this figure. Again, it's a Bandai figure, and so the quality is, well, like, it's the best Bandai can do, if that gives you any kind of like time frame. But they are just adorable. I love the sculpt, I love the facial expressions, they are just beautiful. And I love Sailor Moon so much that, like, man, I really wish I could have this one in my collection. I really doubt that it's ever gonna happen though, which is unfortunate, but yeah, this is saved as a, like, aspiration, not as a plan. Yeah, this one is Kira Gelato. We already talked about the cutie candy toy Bandai Kira Kira Precure mode. We've already been through that. This, though, is the Futari wa Precure Tamashi Premier, also by Bandai. I don't know why Bandai has all the Magical Girl licenses. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like Cardcaptor Sakura, which is like one of the only Magical Girl animes I haven't seen. And Good Smile is doing all these like crazy amazing figures. I'm like, why can't we get that for Sailor Moon or Precure? But to be fair, this Futari wa Precure is pretty cool. I actually like this figure a lot. I think that they've done a really good job on capturing the essence from the TV show, and the base is what gets me on this. I think the base is super, super cool. It is originally 15,000 yen, which for Bandai, I'm like, nah. So I would not pay retail for this, but to be fair, it has gone down pretty drastically on the aftermarket. It is now somewhere in the ballpark of 8,000 yen, 8,000 to 10,000, and so I think once the cheaper shipping comes back, I might consider purchasing this for the 8,000 yen price tag. But yeah, I just think they're really cool, and the background is what makes it, I think. The background is what makes it worth it, so very interested in these two. They're very cute. This one. So one of my favorite animes of all time, and like the third anime I ever watched, was Revolutionary Girl Uttana. And they have made like zilch for figures for Uttana, except for two. And one of them is this Sega prize figure. And she's okay. And I have her saved in here because she is my backup option. The one that I really want is this one here. This one, I think she's just far more dynamic. The paint job is way more interesting than the prize figure, obviously, because she is a scale. I believe she is a 1/8, yes. She is, however, pretty rare. I've never seen her for sale, and I'm sure if I did, she would be really expensive. I heard at the time that she came out that she bargain binned pretty hard, and so I feel like she'd be very, very difficult to find. So I don't really have high hopes for having this GEM instead of the Sega prize figure. So I have them both saved just in case. I would settle for the prize figure, but I really do want the scale because she's just like so much more interesting in my opinion. This one here is the Hatsune Miku 1/8 scale Senbonzakra figure by Freeing. And she's just so cute. Senbonzakra is one of my favorite Vocaloid songs, and I think that Miku's really taken on a life of her own in the figure community, where she's kind of now just like a standard like fashion icon. And I really like the very like vintage feeling type of Hatsune Miku figures. So I really love this classic look from Miku in a very dynamic pose. She's kind of like looking back. I just think she's really cool, and she is very affordable on the aftermarket as well. So I think I could definitely see myself having this one in my collection soon. This one is a draft, and this is going to be the page for the Kotobukiya Artifacts J version 2 Ochako Uraraka. As you saw before, I pre-ordered the version 2 Todoroki from Kotobukiya, and so I'm kind of curious to see what Uraraka looks like. But to be honest, I'm pretty satisfied with my Uraraka pop-up parade. I think for my My Hero collection, I kind of got an idea of what I want it to be, and I'm waiting on the Tsuyu Asui pop-up parade so that I can put her next to my Ochako. There is not an announcement for the hero costume version of Tsu yet, but when there is one, I'll be there. Yeah. I don't think I'll actually buy this one, to be honest. I just want to see what it looks like. This one! This is... I'm actually not too excited about this one, if I'm being completely honest. This is the Project Diva Arcade Kagamine Len Sega prize figure, and I have this saved because I have the Kagamine Rin, and I kind of want Len to match. They're relatively cheap on the aftermarket, and so if I was ever to run into Len for a decent price when shipping is cheap again, I will probably pick him up to put next to Rin. But yeah, on his own, I'm not really that interested in him. It's more for the set aspect, which I think I get roped into a little bit too much. Listen, I know people hate Q-Poskets, and I am in the same boat, but some of them are cute. And especially where it's concerned with Sailor Moon, like we really get shafted for Sailor Moon merchandise. I stand by that. Like we don't have a lot of good quality options when it comes to figures, which I'm sure you've heard me say like 3 times in this video already, but this Q-Posket is a set. So they sell them separately, but there's 2 of them. There's Prince Endymion and there's Princess Serenity, the Q-Poskets. And this I think is the B version. But as you can see, he's kind of got his hand outstretched. And that is because the Princess Serenity also has an outstretched hand, as you can see over here. And so when you put them together, it looks like they hold hands. And I'm really tempted to pre-order these, even though I don't collect Q-Poskets. I kind of hate them, but these ones, I think they're really cute. And the fact that they're holding hands too, I'm hesitating because I think that this might be a way for me to fill the void in my heart that other Choet figure has caused. But they're just so cute. And the Q-Poskets are cheap that like, I'm really heavily considering it. I think they come out in June on Tokyo Otaku Mode, and so I'm really heavily considering it. I'll put a picture on the screen of what they look like together, but they are just really cute. Again, getting drawn in by the sets, I think, but they're very cute, even for Q-Poskets. Oh yeah, this one's kind of just funny. I have this saved because if I was ever to find it, I would buy it in a heartbeat because it's hilarious. But I don't even know how I would search for this on the aftermarket. There's not like, it's just kind of a weird little like trading figure thing. Yeah, again, I just have like drafts of figures that I want to see what they look like. So Tsume has like an announcement for the Ursa Scarlet Ikigai 1/6 figure. And so I have that saved because I want to see what it looks like when that's finished. Again, Chocolat. We talked about the candy toys already. This is one of the only Ursa scales that exists that I actually really love. So this is the Battle Version X Plus 1/7 scale. And she is in the, I'm not really even sure what to call it because it's not like samurai armor, but it's like the kimono armor. And honestly, this is one of the best Ursa scales that we have. In my opinion, it looks like her, it's accurate to the show, and it's not a bikini. So I love this figure, but she is quite expensive on the aftermarket, and I don't love her enough to pay the aftermarket prices. And so she's hard to find, and if I were to find her, I'm not sure if I would even spring for it. So she's saved in hopes that maybe one day, but again, she's one of those ones that I see just a little bit above reach. Oh, no. We need to talk about this one. This is a draft, a prototype for the Ursa Scarlet 1/6 by Orca Toys. If I have only one wish to grant in this lifetime, it is that this figure will ever exist. The sculpt of this figure, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I've like downloaded it and like zoomed it in and like looked at every little bit of this. The sculpt of this figure is amazing. And once they paint her, she will look like fucking incredible. I would pay any amount of money for this figure. And I'm sure that I would because it's like Orca toys, right? So a little less expensive. It's a 1/6, right? But I would pay for this one. I'm so excited about this. And I really, really, really hope that this one doesn't get stuck in development hell, because I know that Orca Toys likes to re-release their sculpts with new like colors. And so they just kind of keep re-releasing the bikini ones. But Orca Toys, I want this one. This is the one that I want. This is the one that I would shell out the cash for. So I am really, really hoping that we will get this at least at some point in my life. I would die, but that's my tale of woe about that one. I have no knowledge of Idolmaster at all, whatsoever. I don't play it, I don't watch it, whatever it is. I have no knowledge of the source material. But I see this figure on AmiAmi Pre-Owned, and she's been there for months, and she's there for like a steal of a deal. Like her retail was like almost 12,000 yen, and she's on AmiAmi for 71.12, maybe like 7,000 yen. And I have been so I don't know what it is about this figure that I'm just so in love with, right? Because like objectively it's a sexy figure, right? And I don't do that. I don't like the bunnies. I don't like the bikini ones. I like classic outfits, classic characters. I'm not really like, I don't love the Skytube figures. I can appreciate the quality, but I'd probably never buy one. You know what I mean? But there's something about this one that I don't know what it is. I just love this figure so much. And I'm fighting with myself so much internally because I don't know who it is. Her name is Uzuki Shimamura, and I don't know who she is. I have no idea who this chick is. But I really, really badly want this figure. She just looks so cool. I love the hair sculpt. I love the way that she looks, like her pose, her outfit. Like I like the very strappy type of like thing going on here. I can't explain it. And so I feel as though, even though I'm really, really fighting myself on this, I think I will probably break down and buy her when the cheap shipping comes back. I wouldn't pay DHL prices to have her, I don't think. I don't think that I would be that unreasonable, but I, for some reason, really love this figure. The other thing too is that she wouldn't fit into my collection, right? Like she just, there's no way, like I don't have any other figures that I could put her with that would make sense, you know what I mean? But I love her anyway for some reason. And the boots in the back, I'm really struggling with whether or not this is gay panic or if she's just actually a cool figure. But, you know, that's a problem for another day. This is a Fluffy Puffy Luna. And I kind of considered buying the Fluffy Puffies, but I was like, I don't really want to like take up space in my collection with these cheapy little like tiny, like, you know, I'd rather have like a good prize figure or a good scale, you know what I mean? But this one is really cute. There's something about this Luna with the moonstick that I'm like heavily considering. And the Fluffy Puffies are pretty expensive for what they are in my opinion, but I'm really considering it. This one is another draft. This is another Orca Toys draft. I'm not gonna open it because it's kind of boring, but it's like, it's a bunny high kick. And I thought that this bunny was a lot more interesting than the freeing bunny is, and she would also probably be less expensive. So I kind of just want to see how she turns out. Probably won't buy her though, I don't know. Oh my god. Okay. I got a story about this one. This figure is the bane of my existence. Before I even started figure collecting, I was in love with this figure. And when I started figure collecting, which was like 7 months ago now, I'm sure, I sat down and I was like, if I get nothing else out of this hobby, I want to have that Sinon. She is my grail. She is my #1 most wished figure. She is an Aquamarine 1/7 scale. She was re-released 3 times? 3 times she was re-released. She is not hard to find on the aftermarket. And she's not hard to find for good prices either. She's not expensive. She was released for 13,000 yen. Unopened on AmiAmi, she goes for 16,000. Open, she goes for 11,000. She's not expensive. I have buy friend notifications set up for her. I check AmiAmi pre-owned every single day when they update. Every single day. Almost without fail. Okay? And somehow I always miss her. Somehow she is like just beyond my grasp every single time, and I don't know how that's possible. I've done everything that I can do to make sure that I know when they get this figure. And I always know. I know. I get the emails, I get the buy friend emails at like 3 in the morning saying, hey, this item you're looking at is in stock on the pre-owned section. Every single time, without fail. It doesn't matter if I wake up exactly when they send the email and check when they send the email. It doesn't matter if I check when the pre-owned section updates. I always miss her somehow. Somehow, I miss her every single time. Clearly, I have a lot of strong emotions about this, but I'm like, with a lot of my grails, they're very out of reach to me. They're hard to find, they're expensive on the aftermarket, I hardly have ever see them for sale. This one, I can like almost taste the plastic. Like it's so close within reach, and yet somehow I still cannot get my hands on one. Driving me absolutely bananas. I can't like, that's my tale of woe. We need to move on before my blood pressure rises any further. She's beautiful though, she's gorgeous. In my opinion, one of the best Sword Art Online scales that we have. And I know that'll be an unpopular opinion because people are like, oh, Sword Art Online, you know, but she's sexy. Like she's gorgeous. I love this, like, I will not settle for another Sinon scale. It has to be this one. So, yeah. That's my rant.
Oh my god. Update. It's literally like 3 days later, not even, it's like 2 days later. Oh my god! Oh my god! I literally just needed to rant about it and the universe was like, no, we'll give her a break.
Here's another one of my other, so the Sinon is my #1 grail. And this is my #2 grail. This is the Men's Hedge Union Creative Guren Ichinoze from Owari no Seraph. I love Owari no Seraph, and I love Guren even more. He was one of my first anime crushes, and I've kind of always in the back of my head been like, wouldn't it be nice to have this figure? He is so hard to find on the aftermarket. Hardly anybody sells him. He never shows up on AmiAmi. He never shows up on Mandarake. And if he does, he'll be expensive. Like one time I have ever got a My Figure Collection notification that someone's selling him for like $500 US. He is so unattainable, it's crazy. And I can't even hope for a re-release because Owari no Seraph is just not popular. This figure is not all that popular. And so I really don't think they'd ever re-release him. Which is very sad because I very badly want him. And the thing that also rubs it in a little bit more is that I have the Men's Hedge Sebastian Michaelis, who was my other first anime crush. And so if I could put both of them together in my collection, I think my life would be complete and my heart would explode. But unfortunately, it seems to me that it's going to be extremely difficult to acquire this one. And it's gonna hurt even if I decide to pay aftermarket, which I might. I'm heavily considering it. It would hurt because he only retailed for 9,000 yen. It's the same thing that I have going on with the Hikari Potama one. 9,000 yen for retail and like 40,000, 50,000 aftermarket? Stupid! I don't want to pay that much for something that was only worth 100 in the first place. But for this one, I think I probably will because I'm stupid. I don't know. This hobby stresses me out sometimes. Like, there he is. It's okay. This here, Pop-Up Parade Kanroji Mitsuri. I want to see what it looks like. I am an anime only, and so I've seen Mitsuri like twice in the anime, so I'm not like that attached to her. But I do have a pretty sizable Demon Slayer figure collection, I would say. And so if she turns out pretty well, I might purchase her to go with my collection. Pop-Up Parades usually turn out well, and so I'm sure in the future I will probably order her. But I don't know, maybe I'll decide that I'm cutting back. This one! This is probably my most anticipated figure. I have been waiting for so long to see it. Like, when I was there when they released the prototype. And so I was waiting very patiently to see her painted, and she was painted at the last Wanfest, and that made me want her even more. She looks amazing. Her sculpt is beautiful. Her facial expression is awesome. And I love the Pop-Up Parade, so I was like, this is an obvious need. And somehow she's one of the only Pop-Up Parades that hasn't gone up for pre-order yet from the last Wanfest. It's like they're saving her for last, which is, you know, whatever, but at least I know I will get this eventually, and that is what makes me hopeful. So, one day you will be in my collection. Okay, this one here, I love Nendroid. More than is probably healthy. She's one of my favorite My Hero characters, even though she totally gets shafted in terms of development. But I love her so much, and I was so excited to see that they were gonna release a prize figure of this, and I nearly pre-ordered it. But then, as I was going to put her in my wished category on my figure collection, I realized that there's an announcement for a Belfine 1/8 Hero Suit version of Nendroid. Currently no image, as you can see, not even a prototype or nothing. But I think I'm going to take the risk and hold out to see what this one looks like, because the Belfine ones are actually really nice. Those are the ones with like the words, you know? I'll put up a picture of what I mean. Some people don't like the Belfine My Hero characters, but honestly, I don't mind them too much, and especially if it's Nendroid, they'll do a really good job with that, and that's the one I'll want to have over the prize figure. So I'm waiting on this one. I'm thinking if I have Nendroid and my Todoroki scale, and then if I have Uraraka and Sue as Pop-Up Parades, then I'll be satisfied with my Hero collection. So waiting on this one. I hope that we get like something soon, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, waiting on that one. I'm really excited about that. This is Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, Panty Anarchy 1/8 by Alter. And I liked Panty and Stocking. It wasn't one of my favorites ever, but I still recommend people to watch it because it's a really unique anime that I think is very outside of what the industry standard is. So if you're looking for something that's different than what the usual anime is like, then watch Panty and Stocking. Especially if you love like Adult Swim or like Rick and Morty, those types of shows. Watch this, you'll like it. And I kind of don't want the set of them, which is really unique for me. Usually I work in sets where I'm like, well, if I'm gonna buy one, I should buy the other. But honestly, I would be okay with just having Panty. I really like Panty's design. I think she looks really, really cool. And of course it's Alter, and so the figure is just gonna be amazing, amazing quality. She's also relatively inexpensive on the aftermarket. She's a little bit difficult to find, but when you do find her, she's not expensive. She's like 7,000, maybe 8,000 yen. And so that is something I think I could swallow for an altar figure. So I am looking for this one, but I will not pay the DHL shipping for it, so I'm like not actively looking for her, but yeah. She would be cool to have in my collection. This one, yeah. So this one's a bit of a unique one in the wish list because this is the Max Factory 1/7 Hatsune Miku, and I will be buying this figure. Like I said about the Senbonzakra figure, I love the classic, like, vintage Mikus, of like the classic looks and the classic faces and the, like, you know, before the whole like pop culture icon Miku, when she was just like Vocaloid Miku, if that makes any sense to any of you. But to me, this is peak Miku. Like, in my mind, when I picture Miku, this is what I see. It's this pose, it's this art style, it's this outfit. And I think that this is just an absolutely amazing Miku figure, especially for vintage Vocaloid fans. And she is really, really cheap on the aftermarket. I don't know what she retailed for. She retailed for 8,000 yen. And on Mandarake, there are like hundreds and hundreds, not hundreds, but many listings for her between like 20,000 to 5,000 yen. And so I am buying this figure. I'm just waiting until the cheap shipping comes back because I don't want to pay DHL for it because that'll probably be more than the figure itself, which would hurt me emotionally. So yeah, I will be buying this figure. She'll go next to my Luca. They'll look beautiful together. And my little Vocaloid heart will be happy. I think we're kind of getting to the end here. I think that might have been it. There's Custard. Yeah, we talked about that already. I think that's it. That is my figure collection wish list. I guess the next time I see you, it will be the new year. So premature Happy New Year to you all. I hope you guys kind of like this more like less structured, just kind of like me talking to you type of video. I usually have like at least like a brief outline of what I'm trying to say, but this is my first like completely just freeform video. I mean, again, leave me your grails in the comments down below. I'm always curious about other people's grails and how hard it is to find them because it makes me feel less alone. Like that Sinon, man, I am like so frustrated by this Sinon, you guys. Like, I could cry tears, honestly. But at the end of the day, it is a hobby. You know, it's not that serious. I'm just making it out to be, but dramatizing it for content, we'll say. But anyways, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you like me, hey, hi, hello, you can hit that subscribe button down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.